Candidates for statewide office often showcase their work experience to convince voters that they're the right person for the job. But the bio of one candidate for insurance commissioner caught the attention of our Fox 5 I-Team.
Yeah, Jim Beck left 2 state jobs under a cloud of controversy and twice worked for the state while also working in the private sector. Senior I-Team reporter Dale Russell has this report.
When I was 18, I went to work for a real estate and insurance company with the idea of selling real estate.
When insurance commissioner candidate Jim Beck campaigns, he likes to tout his years of insurance industry experience.
I've served as chief of staff for the current commissioner.
And he did. Back in 2011, Beck was chief of staff for insurance commissioner Ralph Hudgens. Commissioner Hudgens, who is supporting another candidate for insurance commissioner, says he told Beck to find another job. His reason? He says Beck had not been honest with him and an industry group.
I just told him he needed to find something else to do, that I had lost total confidence in him.
It sounds like a firing.
It sounds pretty much like firing, too.
State records show Beck resigned. Beck sent us an email. He says Commissioner Hudgens wrote when he left, touting his invaluable leadership and that Jim will be sorely missed. Commissioner Hudgens' spokesperson told me the commissioner doesn't remember writing the email, and he says Jim Beck had access to that email account. We had interviewed Jim Beck earlier in his home, but wanted to ask him about what Commissioner Hudgens told us about that email.
Can you just tell me why you took the... Well, that was uncalled for. An email that he said he doesn't remember writing.
You believe that, right?
I'm just telling you what he told me.
Yeah, well, I'm done.
Later, Beck sent us this 2011 proclamation signed by Commissioner Hudgens, saying what a great job he'd done for the department. Beck left the commissioner's office and was handpicked to be the general manager for a private insurance company, Georgia Underwriting Association. At that very same time, he took a second job with the State Prosecuting Attorneys Council. Hudgens knew about the insurance job, but not the state job.
What was he doing for the prosecuting attorneys?
He was working with victims and witnesses in the Tallapoosa district.
Huh.
How could you work for both at the same time?
It's just important to have the availability of insurance.
Beck says he took the state job so he could keep his state health insurance to cover his wife, who earlier had cancer.
But it was a full-time job.
It wasn't 40 hours. I want to say it was like 30 hours or something like that.
State records show it was a full-time, 40-hour-a-week job, making $19,000 plus a year.
Were you giving the taxpayers a fair shake if you're doing that job at the same time you have a full-time job in the private industry?
Well, first of all, you don't know what my job was in the private industry. You don't know if it was full-time or not. You assume it's full-time. You don't know it's full-time.
Beck worked for 2 different district attorneys. Both said he did a good job, but both also said they didn't know he had another job at the same time in the private sector. William Perry, a good government watchdog, finds that unsettling.
The fact that you're a candidate now for office and don't include that work in state government on your bio when you're running for state office, that seems a little deceptive.
We found 2 other state jobs Beck left off of his LinkedIn bio. In 2005, Beck took a job at the Department of Community Affairs. He already had a job as a registered lobbyist for Nationwide Insurance, lobbying Georgia legislators. State records show he was a full-time division director and would have made $102,000 if he had worked a full year. Beck insists he was only a consultant for the state.
Why did the state records show that it's a full-time job and that you were paid a full-time salary?
I sent them an invoice, and they paid me. I sent them an invoice every 2 weeks, and they wrote me a check.
So you're saying you weren't working full-time?
I'm saying that I'm done talking to him.
Mike Beatty, Beck's boss at the time, confirms the job was full-time, and he had no idea Beck had another job at the same time. He says Beck did a good job and moved on after 4 months.
We have made a prayerful decision.
And we found more workplace controversy dating back to 1995. Beck was chief of staff for then Lieutenant Governor Pierre Howard, but that same year he was embroiled in a bitter divorce. According to court records, his wife claimed he was physically and mentally abusive.
There was no physical abuse. There was emotional abuse on both sides.
But in a statement, his ex-wife said, I was the victim of both emotional and physical abuse. It is appalling for him to say that there was emotional abuse on both sides of the marriage. The judge ordered Jim Beck to attend a 6-month program called Men Stopping Violence.
25 years ago, my ex-wife and I still go to the same church together. I mean, it was a divorce. It was ugly.
Beck resigned from that state job. His own attorney at the time wrote that the allegations of spousal abuse cost Mr. Beck the best job he's ever held. Dale Russell, Fox 5 News.